Hi, I'm Michelle Adubato. The North Ward Center is committed to educating the public about the importance of community programs that give all New Jersey residents a chance for a better life. That's why we're proud to support the important educational programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. RWJ Barnabas Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the North Ward Center, NJM Insurance Group, Verizon, and by Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by Jaffe Communications, where business, media, and government converge in New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
What? You're clapping for yourself. That's the prom.
Yes, that's the prom.
And this is Beth Leavel, who plays Dee Dee Allen in the prom.
Correct.
Playing at the
Longacre Theater.
Over on 48th Street?
220 West 48th Street.
Give us the background on this prom.
It's a new original musical, got fantastic reviews. The story is there's 4, let's say, divas in the Broadway community who the show opens on a musical called Eleanor Roosevelt, the musical. So exactly, it's a terrible failure.
Yes.
We're a bit narcissistic, a bit self-involved, and we need a cause. We decide we need a cause to get our names back in the press. So we start twirling through Twitter to see what we can do. It's like Habitat, no, my back, no, hunger. It's too big, too much work. And we come across this story about a lesbian girl in Indiana who wants to take her girlfriend to the prom, and the PTA blows up, and we go, that's it. So we get on the bus, and we go to Indiana to save her and save the community, and lo and behold, don't they save us.
What a great premise. Who wrote this?
Bob Martin, Chad Bagelin wrote the book, and Chad Bagelin also wrote the lyrics, and it was directed by Casey Nicholaw, and Matt Sklar wrote the music, and our CD comes out so soon, and it's some of the best music you have ever heard on Broadway.
And your character, describe Dee Dee?
Dee Dee Allen. I call her Dee Dee Diva. Let's put it this way. People go, what's the difference between Beth and Dee Dee Allen? I go, Dee Dee Allen carries her Tony Awards with her at all times. In her purse.
Hold on one second. You've done 13.
I know, 13 Broadway shows.
I mean, did you, like, right away, you come here from, where the heck are you from?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
And you said, I thought you said you quote-unquote looked Italian. If anyone's offended by that, I apologize.
No, it's such a compliment.
Because I am.
Thank you.
And you said, no, I'm French, I'm this, I'm that.
I know.
Then you're from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Southern.
You come to New York when?
Right after grad school,
Okay.
so it was years ago.
Did you work right away?
Kind of. Yeah, I was really lucky. Why
do you say lucky?
Because usually it takes a while to get into the DNA and the routine and everything. And I came in fully ready to go, and I did a showcase, and a lot of people saw me do this showcase.
What do you mean showcase? What's that?
Showcase is when someone writes a musical, but it doesn't have any money to back it yet. So it's like, come on, Mickey and Judy, let's put on a show at a barn. We put on a version of the show at a small theater, and I had a hilarious song, and I literally signed with my agent the next day, and I'm still with the same agent. 30 years. I've been with him longer than any other man in my life. Thank you, Mark Rodante.
That is impressive.
I know. So I've been really lucky.
Is there something controversial about the prom?
Not controversial. Possibly. During the Macy's Day Parade, there was a kiss. To
Oh,
me,
that's right.
To me, that's not controversial. That's just
Where's the? I don't
love.
get the Where's the controversy?
I don't know. Maybe some people hadn't seen two women kiss before. It was.
I'm sorry. What year was this? This is
So,
okay.
We don't think it's controversial. We're
Okay.
hoping that people come to the show and just really experience the true
No disrespect,
heart
but that,
of the
I don't
show.
get the controversy. But so let me ask you a little bit more about this. You're in this cast of all these different players, right?
Yes.
I'm always curious about this. We work with the same fabulous team here at WNET to do a one-on-one with our great producers. They come together, they're talented, the technical people, the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it's the same team,
Right.
right? You get there first day. You made all these talented, but in some cases pretty, I don't want to say narcissistic, but
We're actors. Is that what?
they have egos.
Yeah, not
Like anything I would recognize. But
Right.
that was a joke. But seriously, how do you come together in the beginning and boom, we got this chemistry?
because we were cast because the director knew us, so the roles were written for us.
What?
I know. Isn't that a privilege?
Isn't it the other way?
Not
Go ahead,
this
I'm
show.
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Usually I have to go in and audition like 9,000 times. This one has been brewing, has been marinating for 7 years. With my character, Beth Leavel is Dee Dee Allen, with Brooks Ashmanskas is Barry Glickman, with Chris Sieber, and with Angie Schworer. So it's a real privilege to have original roles written for you and to have the creative team trust you in that journey. So we're already close when we get in the room. And you know, they're my family, like your family here.
Sure.
And literally, when you give birth to a musical, talk about joyful stress. We just opened 3 weeks ago. You don't know if you're going to run, if you're going to be a hit. There's changes every single day in the script or not. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And we
They're
just
tweaking that. I'm sorry for interrupting. They're
worries.
tweaking
Constantly.
the first, based
yeah.
on audience reaction?
Once you get what I like to call your scene partner in there, which is your audience, they tell you all the comedy you've been working for in a studio, whether it works or not, whether the heart is really felt that way. Is this too long? Is this not long enough? My scene partner, they tell the creative teams that.
That's interesting. No ad-libbing.
And they
though.
listen. Yeah,
I'm
and
going
they
to clarify. No ad-libbing.
No.
Don't mess around because you screw other
You can
people
do
up.
that a little bit in rehearsal because we're comedians, and some of our lines have actually made it to the show, but only with permission of the writers.
Curious. First Broadway play was?
That I was in?
Yes.
42nd Street, the original company. I was the fourth replacement. Anytime Annie. Tap danced.
Okay, so you can dance.
I can tap
You
dance.
can. Why are you saying you can keep repeating you can tap
Well,
dance?
because I can tap dance, which to me is not what these dancers do in this show. They have much higher skill level than I do, but I'm a really good tap dancer.
You could tap dance. You could sing.
I can
Obviously,
act and
you
I'm
can
funny.
act. And your confidence. I'm curious. Where does the confidence that you exude here in public broadcasting come from?
Thank you. I'm glad that's what it's appearing to be. You know, I'm proud of what I do. I'm lucky in what I do, and I've been doing it, so I must do something right, so I'm going to own that confidence, and particularly when I'm talking about the show.
To people who say, I want to try something, but I hear this all the time. I teach people public speaking outside of this world.
Sure.
Right? Oh, I might look bad. I might be
might
embarrassed.
fail.
I might fail. And then, okay, don't, and I guarantee you will. Point being,
Absolutely.
you put yourself out there for rejection or acceptance or something in between. Don't tell me you were born with that. You had to develop that, no?
Yep. Yeah, and I think because of some of the mistakes or some of the rejections I got, they made me a stronger person, and therefore that translates to my work.
So those rejections,
Yeah, it's part of the deal, too. It's just part of the deal of being an actor. I mean, supply, demand. I'm not going to get every audition. I'm not going to be right. I'm not going to be the best person for every single role I go in for, but I'm going to try.
and okay, this is the message to others who say it might not work out. You say,
It might not, but if you don't try, then you're not going to get a show like The Drowsy Chaperone that I won a Tony Award for. You're not going to have people writing Dee Dee Allen for you. I always tell them, you are singular.
by the way, I was going to say something about the Tony Award,
Sorry,
but
I just interrupted. Do you see what I did there?
I saw it, and I am not going to mention my 4 Emmy Awards. I am not. You
Please
can't get me to do it. Even if you tried, I wouldn't do it.
Emmy Awards.
No,
yeah.
it's not about me. It's about the team that makes me look so good.
That's one of my songs. It's called "It's Not About Me."
Well, I was just joking. No,
No, literally,
just
that's the
joking.
title of my big Act One song.
Is
It's
there?
Not About
By the
Me.
way, I totally mean it's all about everyone here. That's the. I stepped on your line. What's the name? What is it again?
The one I won the
The
Tony
same-
Award for, or this show? Oh, It's
Both.
Not About Me.
It's
is the
Not
name
About
of the
Me.
song. And I won a Tony Award in 2006 for a show called The Drowsy Chaperone,
You
which
know-
I didn't get initially. So
And then you win the Tony? Talk about sweet. All right, I'm not going to go. You know, when you do a show like this with Beth Leavel, who's in the Prom, the Longacre Theater on West 48th Street, I know they pay me to do this, but I know it sounds corny as well.
Oh.
They actually, you shouldn't. This was a piece of cake and fun. And I want to thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Wish you all the
Emily.
best.
Thank
Have a great
you.
run.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
There she is, Patti Murin. And she's an actress in Frozen. She plays Anna.
Yep.
And her sister is Elsa. Our daughter Olivia broke that down for me. By the way, I was going to ask you how you people mispronounce your last name and how you get it right. I'm going to leave that alone. Give us the Frozen story. With the two sisters, what's the deal?
It's basically about two sisters who are the best of friends, and one of them happens to be able to shoot ice from her hands. And it gets out of control when they're kids, and she accidentally hits her sister and almost kills her. And so they spend the rest of their childhood separated. And it's basically all about the quest to find each other again. Elsa accidentally unleashes her powers again at her coronation when she becomes the queen, and she runs away. And Anna literally climbs a mountain to go and find her because she loves her sister and she doesn't want to lose her again. But Elsa doesn't want to. She wants to protect her sister from herself. So it's basically that. But Elsa she sets off an eternal winter everywhere. So aside from the problem of the relationship of the sisters, they also have to figure out how to basically save the world.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And by the way, I talked to our daughter about this. She said that Frozen, is it just about one of the most popular kids' movies
one of the
first?
I believe it's the most successful animated film of all time. I believe.
Does that make more pressure?
At one point. What?
Sorry for interrupting. Does that create more pressure?
It a little bit, but they did such a great job of taking the story that everyone already knew and loved and translating it to the stage. And we have 12 new songs, and there's so much more opportunity to actually delve into the characters. And what's great is that they're animated characters, and we're the first people that are actually embodying them. Like the first people on Broadway that are actually embodying these humans. So we're humanizing them, which is really cool. There's everyone has their favorites and their opinions, but honestly, everyone who's come to see the show and the fans have just been nothing but supportive.
By the way, speaking of humanizing, where did you come from?
I grew up in a small town. I look up like it's north of New York City.
Is that how you can do it?
I'm like,
I grew up in Canada. No.
A small town called Hopewell Junction, which is
Hopewell-
just near Poughkeepsie, yeah.
You come to New York for the first time, what year?
Probably, oh my gosh, I would say probably when I was a baby. My parents took us.
I actually meant to work, but...
Oh, to work? Oh. 2002?
Okay, so you come in 2002. What's it for?
I moved here right after college because I majored in musical theater, and this was just where I was headed.
So again, people are tired of me asking this, but two things. Number one, when did you know that this was what you wanted to do?
Probably in high school, I would say. It was when I saw people, it's when I realized that there was a theater major. There was you could go to college for this. And my parents were so supportive, and I don't remember ever not knowing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about this. So dancing, singing, acting, the whole three.
Yes.
All three. How do you juggle?
Well, you're pretty much always acting, even if, while you're
Okay.
dancing, while you're singing.
But did dancing come naturally to you?
I started when I was 3, so yeah, I say I'm a dancer in that I can dance, but you won't see me like auditioning for a chorus line or Cats or anything like that. I'm not a technically proficient dancer, even though I took it for basically my entire life. But I love when I get the opportunity to dance because it's a thing I don't get to do terribly often, but I get to do quite a bit of it in this one.
So I'm curious about this, keeping Frozen fresh, excuse the way I'm phrasing that. Is that challenging at all?
Not really. I mean, it's been almost.
Because I know that story.
Yeah, yeah.
So what?
Well, what's cool about it is that, I mean, theater is such like a living, breathing thing, and so you have a different audience, and it's automatically a different show, you know. And you
Because
have,
the audience is different.
Yes, yep. They react in different ways. They're you know different, all different ages. You know, you have different matinees are wildly different from night shows. And so that's, you always have to kind of like navigate that in a fun way. But also, it's just I love doing the show every night and finding new things. Like there's still so much to find.
You know, new things. Why is Georgette, our producer, asking me to ask you about two guys in hockey jerseys who came to see the show? What's up with that?
Oh yeah, we obviously, you know, like the kids are coming to Frozen and the families are coming, but we've had so many people, you know, we've had 60th birthday parties where a bunch of women will come, and you know, but in our first week of previews, we had these two guys who came to the show, and they're literally in the second row, and they're wearing hockey jerseys, and I was like, you know, because I could see them during the bows, and I was like, what are they doing here? And they were out on the stage door line, and I finally went up to them and I was like, what are you doing here? Because they didn't have kids.
Were they Rangers jerseys?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, what are you guys doing here? You don't have dates. You don't have kids. You're
You didn't really ask them that.
mid-20s. Yeah, I did. Yeah, totally. And they were like, well, I was supposed to have a blind date today, and she canceled. So I ran to the Frozen box office and got us the last 2 tickets for today. And I was like, hey, we're going to Frozen. So it wasn't even like he was supposed to go to Frozen for his date. His date got canceled.
Where's the other guy come from?
He's just his buddy. They were going to the hockey game that night.
And they went to see, and they had a great time.
Yep, loved
Now
it.
that just proves that Frozen is for everyone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you sign the jersey?
I did, yeah.
You did?
I sure did. Yeah, they wanted me to. I was like, okay.
Are you a hockey fan? It doesn't matter.
No.
See, they're never going to forget that moment.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was really, and again, it's the themes of Frozen are so.
By the way, is it clear that we're here in New York?
No, not at all.
Can't hear anything?
Not at all.
I'm sure they'll edit that out. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
The themes of Frozen are quite deep and quite, you know, what you would consider adult material. You know, I mean, this also almost kills her sister when she's younger. You know, it's about concealing, and it's about the power of true love, and it's about, you know, hiding yourself away and actually learning to accept yourself. So even though, you know, the movie obviously spoke to a lot of children, I went to see it with my then boyfriend, now husband, on a date night. And I watched it and I loved it and I cried and I laughed and I was like, it was, you know, we didn't have kids. And most of my friends are the same way. It is perceived as a children's show and a children's story, but honestly, I think it's so much deeper and a bit darker than that.
And now you are Anna.
Weird, right?
And I
actually saw it at the movie theater just 2 blocks away.
Look at you. Patty, I want to thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you for
nothing but the
having me.
best.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, stay right there. We're right back, one-on-one, right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to be joined by Jessica Vosk, who is performing in Wicked at the Gershwin Theater on 51st Street. And you play?
Elphaba.
Who is Elphaba in Wicked?
Oh, Elphaba.
Because there are 2 witches here, right?
There's 2 witches. There's the good witch, right. There's technically Glinda.
The good witch
the good
of?
Witch. The good witch of the...
Whatever.
Whatever.
And you are the?
I'm Elphaba, who ends up being known as the Wicked Witch of the West. But the story begins as, you know, 2 young girls going to school together. I'm the different one. I'm the green one. I'm the one who is walking around stage being bullied and ridiculed, and she sort of finds a way to come into her own. She's got her own ideas. She's smart. She's not the most eloquent speaker. She puts her foot in her mouth a lot. I can relate to that.
Real life?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I know, you'd never think
I
about
would not
me.
think that.
But it's a lot that I actually relate to, and it's a very special role to play because it is about a young girl who doesn't exactly know how to be herself yet because she's been sort of taught by everybody else that she's the bad one. And in the end, she's not the bad one. So that's, in a nutshell, a little bit about her.
How the heck did you get to Broadway? The word on the street is it was relatively unconventional. What does that mean?
I would say I have a very weird story. I thought as a kid that I would do the usual musical theater route, go to school, become a musical theater major. I did finance in Wall Street out of college.
So you admit that?
I admit it. If this is a therapy session, I
Did not
admit
love
that.
it. Did not love
it. I was really good at it. You know, I knew my way around a Bloomberg terminal and around a lot of, you know, major companies and could hold my own 8 to 6 in a suit every day.
There's a but coming.
But it stressed me out in a way that I had never experienced in my life. And at the time, I refused to see theater. I refused to talk to people in theater. I refused to sing. I refused to admit that there was something wrong. And it manifested in a huge, anxious way, panic attacks, anxiety. I didn't know what was going on. And about 3 years into that job and, you know, several promotions in, I wouldn't say I'm lucky the market crashed, but it crashed, and I was able to parlay that into leaving the job. And still kept in touch with everybody. I still keep in touch with them today. And my parents were not thrilled. I called them and I said, I'm gonna leave this job, and they said, no.
You're making real cash.
I was making great money. I had the benefits and the 401k. And
It wasn't right.
It wasn't right. And your body tells you that. And my body told me that. And then I left, and somehow the universe threw me a gig at Carnegie Hall. And, you know, I'm a very lucky girl. And here I am leading a Broadway show today. If you told me that would happen 10 years ago, I would have given you the hand.
And you were in a national tour before?
I did the national tour of Wicked. Yeah, I did that for about 13 months. Kind of learned the ropes, what it's like to be the green girl, sing it 8 times a week. It's an intense
How do you
role.
keep that intensity?
For me, it's rest, it's diet, it's vocal rest when I'm not doing the show, it's healthy singing, it's the workout on stage physically is extremely hard.
It is.
And it's 2 hours and
I'm looking
45
at
minutes.
video, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of, you know,
You got to work at this.
it's a lot of work.
People do those of us who have been to plays have any idea what it takes to perform 8 times a week?
I mean, I don't like the people who come to see the show who are not in the business. I think there's a certain amount of wonder and awe when you're looking at something like that and saying, wow, this is, my thing is, I look at these people who are sitting in the audience, these thousands of people, and if I could change their life that night for these 3 hours that they're in the theater, I have done my job. And that's my goal. All the fanfare is awesome. All the interviews and the makeup and the hair, I love it. But to change somebody's life is great. And then on the other side of it, people will leave the show and say, you have to do that 8 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's akin to whatever they're doing. I mean, I know people who work in the corporate world who are on, you know, 3 different time zones because they're working with clients in Europe and in California, and I know what that's like.
Let's just say we do a few shows here in one day.
I know you do. And it's all exhausting, but it's stuff that we can handle in these jobs that we've chosen.
Well, also we have an incredibly talented team here in the studio, behind the scenes. People make it happen, and we who never get enough attention and credit. Let me ask you this: where'd you grow up again?
Jersey, Clinton.
Clinton, New Jersey. And it's so interesting. You knew as a kid, but you go to make money.
Yeah.
But did you have an acting thing?
No.
Come on.
No, I didn't go to school for it. And when I decided to take the leap, I did, you know, acting classes on the side, and I would go and show up for, you know, auditions. I didn't have an agent at the time. I mean, it was not the easiest thing. It is a very hard thing to go to a cattle call and be there with hundreds of people and hope that you get seen, or hope that somebody notices that you can sing, or go to an open mic night, which I used to do all the time, and just hope that your name gets called. It's a who you know networking game. and you are your own CEO. And maybe that's something I learned in the business world.
You're a business person.
That's, you know.
Say it again. You tell folks that again. You are your own.
You are your own CEO. I
love
am in charge of my business.
And your brand.
And my brand.
Jessica Vosk, who is in Wicked, she plays Elphaba.
That's right.
You're good. Gershwin Theater.
Thank you.
222 West 51st Street.
That's
I
right.
wish you all good things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Check you out next time, one-on-one, from the Tisch WNET studio here in Lincoln Center. Thanks.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by New Jersey Sharing Network, RWJ Barnabas Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Northward Center, NJM Insurance Group, Verizon, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
NJM Insurance Company has been serving New Jersey policyholders for more than 100 years. But just who are NJM's policyholders? They're the men and women who teach our children, the public sector employees who maintain our infrastructure, the workers who craft our manufactured goods, and New Jersey's next generation of leaders, the people who make our state a great place to call home. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.